The moment Viktor Hale looked down at the bill, the entire diner disappeared around him. The noise, the soft clinking of forks, the hum of cheap fluorescent lights, all of it faded, because 3 little circles drawn in blue ink had just told him he was seconds away from death. The handwriting was neat, calm, almost gentle, but the message wasn't gentle at all. Gunman, behind you. Exit now. Viktor didn't blink, didn't move, didn't even breathe differently. A mafia boss survived by one rule. Reacting is death. Pretending is survival. He held the bill like he was checking the total, but his eyes scanned the reflection in the window. There he was, a man behind him, sitting too straight, hand too close to his jacket, eyes not on the menu, but on Viktor's spine. A rookie mistake. Viktor's jaw tightened. Whoever sent him didn't understand the first rule of killing a mafia boss. You don't miss. You don't hesitate. And you definitely don't let him see you first. Yet the gunman hadn't moved, hadn't fired, hadn't spoken, because someone else was watching the room. Someone who didn't want a body on the floor. And that someone was the soft-spoken waitress who had placed the bill on his table only moments earlier. Her name tag read Emma. She didn't look like someone who should be mixed in this world. Light brown hair tied back in a loose ponytail. Worn shoes. A uniform faded from too many late-night shifts. Eyes that were quiet. Too quiet. But when she approached Viktor earlier, he noticed something most people would have missed. Her hands didn't shake. Not even a little. Even now, she moved at the far side of the diner, refilling a customer's water with practiced rhythm. But her glance kept drifting toward Viktor's table. Not obvious. Not panicked. Just aware. She wasn't warning a stranger. She was protecting him. But why? Viktor read the note again, slower this time. Gunman behind you. Deal gone wrong. Exit now. She knew. She knew what he was. What world he lived in. And she knew exactly what was coming before he did. Viktor lifted his gaze just as Emma passed by his table. She didn't stop. She didn't look at him. But under her breath, barely louder than a sigh, she whispered, "Don't turn around." She walked away. He watched her go, confused and furious at the same time. This waitress knew too much. Too calm. Too detailed. Too confident. He didn't like people knowing things they shouldn't. He especially didn't like people knowing things about him. He leaned back in his seat, pretending to relax, pretending to be bored, pretending he wasn't mapping the entire room in his head. The gunman behind him shifted. A test. Checking if Viktor sensed him. Viktor didn't react. Emma's soft voice drifted from the counter. "Your pie is coming right up, sir." He didn't order pie. Not even close. That was another message. Stay seated. Wait. Don't make a move yet. Viktor didn't like being told what to do. But he also didn't like dying in cheap diners. He watched Emma circle behind the counter, pick up a pen, and scribble something on a napkin. She slid it under a plate and pretended to clean the counter. Subtle. Natural. Invisible. When a customer stood up to leave, she brushed past their table, casually dropping the napkin beside Viktor's hand. He waited 2 seconds, the amount of time required to look unsuspicious, then pulled it closer. More words. 2 more men. One at the door. One pretending to read dessert menu. He looked at the dessert guy. He wasn't reading. He was watching Viktor's reflection in the spoon he held. Emma was right. Viktor felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not fear. Not panic. Curiosity. This waitress didn't panic when she saw an assassination attempt. Didn't freeze. Didn't scream. She calculated. Planned. Communicated. And all with the ease of someone who'd done it before. The question pressed against Viktor's mind. "Who are you, Emma?" Before he could look at her again, she moved past him one more time, her voice barely a whisper. "When I say refill, walk to the kitchen. Don't look back." Then she smiled politely for everyone else and walked away. Behind Viktor, the gunman straightened. He sensed something shifting. Viktor tilted his head just enough to see Emma through the reflection. She met his eyes for half a second. Not pleading. Not scared. Warning. 3 small knocks sounded from the kitchen door. Emma's voice, calm as ever. Refill coming through. That was the signal. The moment of truth. Viktor rose from the table slowly, like he was just getting up to stretch, and walked toward the kitchen with a casualness that hid the storm starting in his pulse. Every pair of eyes in the room followed him, especially the ones holding guns. As Viktor reached the kitchen door, Emma's voice whispered one last warning. "They're coming." And before he could respond, a chair scraped. A gun lifted. A breath was drawn. The ambush had begun. The moment Viktor stepped through the swinging kitchen door, the world behind him erupted. A chair toppled. A man cursed. Footsteps thundered toward him. Emma was already there, standing near the metal prep table, hands trembling only slightly. She grabbed his wrist the second he entered. "This way," she whispered urgently. Viktor didn't resist. Not because he trusted her, not yet, but because her instincts had been sharper than his. They rushed behind a tall pantry shelf as the kitchen door slammed open. The gunman's heavy boots echoed across the tiles. Emma squeezed Viktor's arm softly, urging silence. He glanced at her, noticing details he'd missed before. Her stance, grounded. Her breath, measured. Her eyes, scanning exits, corners, reflections. She wasn't new to danger. She was trained. The gunman walked deeper into the kitchen, gun raised, voice low and dangerous. "He came in here. Find him." Another set of footsteps entered. 2 men now. Emma leaned closer, so close he could hear her heartbeat. It was fast, but not panicked. She whispered, "We can't stay long. They'll sweep the room." "How many?" Viktor breathed. 3 total. The one at your back, one at the door, another by the restroom. He froze. She was right again. "How do you know?" he asked. "Later," she whispered. "If we survive." The footsteps grew louder. Viktor looked at her, trying to piece her together. She moved like someone who'd seen violence before. Someone who knew when death was close. Someone who'd learned to stay alive. The second gunman checked under prep tables. "Where is he?" "The boss wants him alive long enough to talk." Viktor's jaw tightened. So this wasn't a random hit. It was a message. But from who? Emma tugged his sleeve gently, drawing his attention toward the freezer door at the far corner. "The back exit is through there," she whispered. "We run when they turn their backs." Viktor looked at her, really looked. "Why are you helping me?" She met his eyes, and for the first time, he saw something fragile inside them. Fear. Not fear for herself. Fear for him. "I didn't want you to die," she whispered. "Not in front of me. Not like that." His chest tightened. It was a strange feeling, for a Mafia boss who had seen bloodshed without blinking. "Ready?" she breathed. The gunman turned toward the pantry shelf. Footsteps heading their way. Emma exhaled shakily. "Now." Viktor grabbed her hand without thinking. They sprinted silently to the freezer door. The metal door screeched slightly as Emma pulled it open, and both of them slipped inside just as the gunman reached the shelves. Inside the freezer, breath fogged the air. Shivers ran through Emma's shoulders. Viktor shrugged off his coat and draped it around her before he even realized what he was doing. She blinked up at him. "You didn't have to." He cut her off quietly. "You're freezing." For a man known for ruthlessness, the softness surprised even him. Emma didn't argue. Her lips were turning pale. "Exits this way," she whispered, teeth chattering slightly. At the back, a steel service door led to an alley. Emma pressed her ear to it. Nothing. She pushed the door open an inch. Moonlight spilled in. Silence. "Clear," she breathed. They stepped outside, and Viktor gently closed the door behind them. The alley smelled like rain and last night's trash, but it was freedom. For now. Emma leaned against the wall, breath trembling. That was close. Viktor didn't let her rest long. "Emma," he said quietly, "who are you?" She blinked. "I'm a waitress," she whispered. "No," Viktor said, stepping closer, "you're not." She swallowed. "You saw danger before anyone else. You read the room like a sniper. You used coded messages. You didn't panic under fire. You led me out like you've done it before." Emma's heartbeat visibly fluttered at her neck. Her gaze lowered. "Please, don't ask." He stared at her. "You saved my life. Twice. I'm not walking away without answers." Before she could reply, a gunshot shattered the night. Emma flinched and grabbed Viktor's arm as a bullet sparked against the brick wall beside them. "They found us," she cried. Viktor pulled her into a run. Boots thundered behind them. Shouts echoed through the alley. "Emma, go!" Viktor shouted. "I'm not leaving you," she yelled back. Another shot fired. Closer this time. They rounded a corner. Viktor shoved Emma behind a dumpster and crouched beside her. She was breathing hard. Broken. Terrified. But her hands. Still steady. "Emma," Viktor whispered between breaths. "Tell me now. Who the hell taught you to survive like this?" Her eyes filled, dark with secrets no waitress should carry. And for the first time, she answered honestly. "I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to have a normal life. I used to work in a world like yours. A world that breaks people." Viktor froze. She looked at him with trembling eyes. I used to protect men like you from men like them. Before he could speak, the sound of footsteps grew louder. Closing in, Viktor tightened his grip on her arm. Then tell me one more thing, he whispered. Can you still run? Her expression hardened. With you, she whispered. Yes. The two of them rose together, shoulder to shoulder, and ran deeper into the darkness. Together, rainwater dripped from rusted fire escapes as Viktor and Emma ran through the narrow alley, their footsteps splashing through puddles. The night felt alive, breathing, stalking them, pressing in on every side. Emma's hair clung to her cheeks, her breaths uneven but determined. Viktor stayed half a step behind her, watching every shadow, ready to shield her with his body if a bullet ripped through the dark again. They reached a dead end. A brick wall, 10 feet high. No ladder. No escape. Emma cursed under her breath, the first time she'd slipped. They're close, Viktor said, voice low and steady. She nodded, trembling. I know. Footsteps thundered from the alley behind them. Cold, confident, hunting. Viktor stepped in front of her, blocking her from sight, positioning himself like a shield. Emma grabbed his arm. No, Viktor. You can't. You saved me twice tonight, he whispered. Let me return the favor. Her eyes filled. You'll die? He looked over his shoulder at her, really looked. Her fear wasn't just survival instinct. It was personal. You've seen too many people die, he murmured. Her breath caught. How do you know? Because you move like someone who carries ghosts. Emma's hand slipped from his arm. Her eyes glistened in the dim alley light. And for the first time, she let the truth crack open. I used to be part of an undercover intelligence team, she whispered. My job was to blend in, create identities, walk into rooms no one else could. I kept people safe, people like you. Viktor inhaled sharply. He'd suspected it, but hearing it changed everything. What happened? He asked. Emma looked down, her voice barely a breath. I lost my partner. Silence struck him like ice. He died because of a mistake, she continued, tears tracing lines down her cheeks. My mistake. I trusted the wrong person. I believed a false signal. I told him the room was clear. Her voice cracked. He walked in. It wasn't. And I couldn't save him. Viktor felt her pain hit him harder than any bullet. I left after that, she whispered. I ran. I promised myself I'd never be in a position where someone died because of me again. Viktor stepped closer, lowering his voice. You didn't cause his death. She shook her head. It doesn't matter. My hands are stained. That's why I became a waitress. Just to disappear. Just to live quietly. Viktor swallowed. And tonight, he whispered, you broke that promise. A sob escaped her. Yes. He cupped her face gently, forcing her to look at him. You saved me, Emma, he murmured. Your partner would be proud. Not haunted. Her tears shimmered as they fell. But there was no time to comfort her. Voices echoed closer. Down here. They ran this way. Emma tensed. We're trapped, she whispered. Viktor's eyes flashed. No. We improvise. He grabbed a loose metal pipe leaning against the wall and tossed it aside. It clanged loudly, echoing in the alley. Run, Viktor whispered, but not forward. Up. Up where? He interlocked his fingers and crouched. Emma understood instantly. She placed her foot into his palms. On 3, he said. 1. Footsteps thundered closer. 2. Flashlight beams hit the opposite wall. 3. Viktor launched her upward. She grabbed the edge of the fire escape, swinging her body over with practiced precision. Now he needed to climb. She leaned down, reaching for him. Viktor, hurry. He grabbed her hand just as the first gunman rounded the corner. Emma pulled with everything she had, her muscles trembling, her breath burning. Come on, she cried. He scraped onto the platform seconds before bullets cracked against the brick below. The gunman shouted. They're above. Go. Don't lose them. Emma and Viktor scrambled up the stairs, 2 floors, 3, until they reached the rooftop. The city lights stretched before them, distant and cold. Emma collapsed to her knees, breath shaking. Viktor kneeled beside her. Emma, he said softly, you okay? She nodded weakly, wiping her eyes. I thought you wouldn't make it. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You pulled me up, he whispered. You saved me. Again. Emma looked at him, really looked, and something shifted in her eyes. A softness, a fear, a connection deeper than either of them expected. Why? She whispered. Why did you trust me tonight? You don't even know me. Victor's reply came without hesitation. Because you saw me as a person before you saw me as a monster. She blinked, stunned. And for the first time tonight, Victor smiled, a real one. Tired. Wounded. But real. We're not done, he said quietly. They won't stop. Emma nodded. I know. She stood slowly, her silhouette framed by the glow of city lights. Then we run, she whispered, towards something safer, something smarter. And after that? Victor asked. Emma swallowed. After that, I'll tell you the rest. Victor offered his hand. Emma hesitated, then took it, not because she trusted him, but because they were already bound together. By danger, by survival, by secrets neither asked for. And neither could escape alone. The rooftop was cold, but not as cold as the fear still clinging to Emma's bones. Wind pushed her hair across her face, the city glowing beneath them like a map of a world she never wanted to return to. Victor stood beside her, close enough to protect, far enough to respect her space. Below them, the gunmen scattered, searching alleys and streets. Unaware their prey now stood above them like ghosts. Emma's breath trembled. Victor, she whispered, when the sun rises, they'll still be looking for you. For us, he corrected gently. She shook her head. No, this is your war, not mine. He turned toward her fully. Emma. His voice softened, surprising even him. You stepped into it the moment you circled those words. Her throat tightened. I didn't do it to be a hero, she said quietly. I did it because I couldn't watch someone die again, not in front of me. Not because of me. She hugged her arms around herself. The past weighed on her shoulders like invisible chains. When my partner died, Victor, I promised myself I would never use my old training again. I wanted to fade away. Work a simple job. Serve food. Smile. Pretend. Her voice broke. I thought I could leave that life behind. Victor didn't speak at first. He let her breathe, let her unravel safely. Then he asked gently, Do you regret helping me? Her eyes rose to meet his, shimmering with tears she refused to let fall. No, she whispered. I'd regret doing nothing. Victor exhaled slowly, pain flickering in his eyes. I've lived a long time with people either fearing me or serving me, he said. But tonight, someone saved me. Not for money. Not for power. His voice lowered, warm and raw. You saved me because you still have a heart in a world that destroys them. Emma looked away quickly. Because if she looked at him too long, she knew she might break open. Down below, the gunmen regrouped at the alley entrance. Shouts carried upward. They're closing in, Emma whispered. Let them, Victor said softly. They won't find us now. Your car is gone, she warned. They know your face, your habits, everything. And you, he asked. Do they know you? For a moment, Emma froze. Then she shook her head. No, not yet. Then that gives us the advantage, Victor replied. She looked at him in disbelief. Us, she repeated. You barely know me. I know enough, Victor answered. Enough to see how you think, how you move, how you choose danger if it means saving a stranger. He paused. And enough to know I'm not leaving you behind. Her breath hitched. Victor, I don't need protection. I know, he murmured. You need redemption. Emma flinched like he'd touched an open wound. Redemption for what? She whispered. Whatever keeps you awake at night, Victor said. Whatever memory makes you hide your sharpest parts under an apron. Whatever made you run from the life you were built for. She turned away, tears shimmering. I didn't want this, she whispered. I didn't want to feel responsible for another life. I didn't want to remember the old me. Then don't remember her, Victor said softly. Remember who you were tonight. She wiped her cheek. And who was I tonight? He stepped closer, so close she could feel his warmth through the cold air. Someone who saved a man who didn't deserve saving, he whispered. Someone braver than anyone I've met in years. Her breath staggered. Victor. He touched her shoulder gently. You said you walked away from your old world, he murmured. But I don't think you did. She looked up at him, vulnerable, raw, open. I think, he continued, you were waiting for something worth fighting for. A tear finally escaped and slid down her cheek. She didn't hide it this time. Why me? She whispered. Because you saw the gun before I did, he answered. Because you lied to death's face and kept walking. Because you're not afraid to save the wrong man. Silence stretched between them. Soft, fragile, powerful. Victor reached out slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. She didn't. He slipped his coat over her shoulders again and whispered, You're not alone anymore, Emma. Not tonight. Not ever again. Her lips parted, trembling. What happens now? She whispered. He looked over the city with eyes that had seen too much darkness, and surprisingly found a spark of light in one diner waitress who wasn't a waitress at all. Now we get somewhere safe, Viktor said. We plan. We stay ahead of them. And when you're ready. He looked at her, steady, sincere. You tell me the whole story, and I'll tell you mine. Emma nodded slowly. Not because she trusted him fully, but because for the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was running alone. A faint sunrise began touching the horizon. Emma watched it, voice soft. Viktor, do you think we'll make it through this? He took her hand gently. We already made it through the worst part, he said. We survived meeting each other. She let out a shaky laugh, the first real smile he'd seen from her. And together, they walked toward the fire escape, toward whatever waited below, toward a future neither expected. But both were suddenly willing to fight for. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because kindness doesn't always wear a smile, and heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they walk in covered in dust, carrying stories that could change your heart forever.